Yes, guys, how we doing? How we doing? More Tottenham talk. Will Tottenham survive? Smash the likes on your way through. And of course, let's hear your thoughts in the comment section. Look, international break is over. The FA Cup weekend is over because, of course, Tottenham wasn't in it. So they've had plenty of time to gather their thoughts. Welcome the new manager. Another manager in this piss poor Premier League season. So now this is it now. This is it. There's no more stops. This is it now until the end of the season. Are Tottenham going to survive? Or is it just going to be a continuous doom and gloom and a relegation into the Championship? It's it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? It's going to be interesting. But look, as we all know, there's a very divided Spurs. Spurs fans are very divided, aren't they? Like some are saying it should have been Poch, but look, Poch, he's got a job to do with USA until after the World Cup. A lot of people are calling for Redknapp, a Team Sherwood, like me, for example. Others were saying Ryan Mason, Chris Hughton, weren't they? Some were even saying keep Tudor till the end of the season. What's the point of swapping and changing managers all the time? Well, yeah, what is the point of swapping and changing managers? It's the board, ENIC, hierarchy. We all know they don't help the situation we are in. But I'm not the only one that's saying this, but if we kept hold of Tudor, then kiss goodbye to the Premier League. Because with Tudor, he had no nothing about how to get this squad performing, swapping and changing formations, swapping and changing the team selection itself, like keeping João Plino on the bench, Gallagher on the bench. Even Xavi Simons wasn't even starting Premier League games, was he? These are players that should be starting. You know, playing Porat position. I could probably count literally one game where Conor Gallagher actually played it in his natural position, and you got Spurs fans jumping on the bandwagon saying Gallagher's useless. What was the point in that? What was the point in signing him? So with Roberto De Zerbi now in a 5-year deal, a 5-year deal. I know it's ridiculous money, but it's not our money. It's not our money. This is on the hierarchy. So there's that saying, isn't there? This surely has to be the last roll of the dice, the last throw of the dice. Has to be. Has to be. Because if they fluff this one up, then surely the board need a massive shake-up, even though they do need a massive shake-up. But ENIC, the Lewis family, it's time to sell up, isn't it? So is De Zerbi the right man? Will he get Spurs over the line? Igor Tudor was brought in to do that. He failed. Couldn't bag himself a win in the league. So will De Zerbi do this? Will he get Spurs over the line and we get to see another Premier League season? Because let's face it, Wolves play West Ham, don't they? This Friday before we even play our next game on the Sunday. And that's Sunderland. And look, Sunderland, they've had a remarkable season. No pushover, especially when they've got Granit Xhaka in that central mid. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, is it? Not going to be easy whatsoever. So, it's what are your thoughts, guys? Like, I'm going to throw this one out. Score prediction. Obviously, the last time we played Sunderland, it finished 1-1, I believe. So, going to the stadium tonight, it's. Can you really see Spurs getting all 3 points? It's a massive ask, isn't it? when you think back to the last home win, or the last, even the last Premier League win, I should have said, you going back to what, December the 28th against Crystal Palace, and that was a 1-0 win, wasn't it? A 1-0 win thanks to Archie Gray. That was our last win in the Premier League, and that is just, it's shambolic, isn't it? Total shambles. Total shambles. So I really, going back to, how can I say it? Going back to the weekend the weekend leading up to when we was playing Liverpool, and even back then I said, look, with the current squad we have, even though there's injuries, but seeing at the next set of fixtures, I really can't see where we even get a point from. But by some miracle, I know we were thankful that Liverpool were having an off day. They missed a lot of sitters, but then so did we. Richarlison could have bagged at least a hat trick that day. So to walk away from Anfield with a point was a very, very big point. And then a few days later, we bag a win against a very good Atletico Madrid side. To then go and lose 3-0 against Tottenham Forest, it's just typical Spurs. Typical Spurs, isn't it? So Tudor's gone now. Tudor's gone. And like I said, and I'm not the only one saying this, he had obviously no experience, but you'd think, being a manager, it doesn't matter if you've got experience in the Premier League or not. But he wasn't helping himself, was he? The team selection was always all over the place. The formation was all over the place. He never stuck to the same formation 2 games running. It was all very mishmash, a complete and utter mess. So he wasn't helping himself, and at the same time, he definitely lost the dressing room. Definitely lost the dressing room. So with Roberto De Zerbi now in there, yes, he's got Premier League experience with Brighton, and he done a very good job with Brighton. When you think back to the players they had, and some are still there, I believe. So is he going to get Spurs over the line? And look, for the other one, that really did shock me when it was announced, when it was officially announced that we were getting Roberto De Zerbi. I'm thinking, wow, this is another Conte, isn't it? That saying of Conte 2.0, another Conte. He speaks his mind. He's not one for holding back. Not one for holding back. And the second one is, he doesn't last very long, does he? I think the longest he lasted, at one club, was about 35 months. So he just gets over that 2-year bracket, and then he's off. So he's on a 5-year contract. So how long does he last? If we go down to the Championship, is he going to stay with us? Or is he just going to go, fuck this, I'm off? Give me the sack, and I'll walk away with big bag of cash. He's the one laughing, and we're the ones crying because we got Championship football. So let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope a very, very big miracle that Spurs pick up the points. Right now I'm just trying to think where we are going to pick the points up, because just going how we have been performing, it's just been very shambolic. So where are the wins coming from? Where are we going to get at least a point from? And the goals, more importantly, where are the goals coming from? For pretty much all the season, we've been struggling to score the goals. So where are the goals coming from? So, look, we all know De Zerbi, he's got his work cut out. And I just hope, again, a very, very big hope that he does get this squad of boys all around, and they're all on the same page. They're all in this together. At the same time, there's players that are simply not good enough. There's players that want to leave the club. Again, Romero, Cristi Romero. He's, you know, he's a typical hypocrite, isn't he? Throws it on social media, you know, we're trying our best, I'm trying my best, you know, we want this club to succeed, but yet not showing it on the pitch. Has not shown that on the pitch. He's not consistent enough. Like many other players, Richarlison, another one, not consistent enough. Not consistent. So, staying in the league or get relegated, we need a massive clear out. We've already been told that there's going to be a massive, lots of wage cuts. You know, that's going to happen no matter what. Even if we do go down, that will happen. That will happen. You know, can you really see Mickey van der Ven, Romero, Vicario, Madison, Kulusevski? I know Kulusevski and Madison have not played for way over a year now, but them players there, Porro, Solanke, Bergville, Xavi Simons, all them players there, can you really see any of them playing championship football? Of course not. Of course not. So, you know, it's going to be a very, very bumpy ride. It's going to be one of them ones where you strap yourself in. You know, it's going to be very, very tense. Very, very tense. But are we going to bag our first win in the Premier League since the 28th of December when we come up against Sunderland on Sunday afternoon at the Stadium of Light? Are we? Are we? You know, because they are fighters, aren't they? Sunderland they've shocked me this season. When they won promotion in that, I think they come up through the playoff final, didn't they? I'm sure of it. But when they come up, they were one of my favourites to go back down again. But they've shocked me, especially when they got Granit Xhaka, who is a very, very top player, top leader, been at the highest, hasn't he? Been at the highest again, you know, played for Arsenal. So he's been there, got the experience. So that alone was a very, very good signing for Sunderland. You know, so are we going to get anything? Are we? Are we? Look, I'm gonna bring up. Bear with me, guys. I'm gonna bring up the next set of fixtures for everyone down there in the mix. Just bear with me, guys. Just bear with me. Right, here we go. Here we go. So look, Leeds. As you can see, Leeds are in the mix, aren't they? You know, Spurs are. I think. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just going to go bring up the table on my iPad. They are. So Leeds are 15th. They're only 3 points clear of Spurs. So with 7 games left, Leeds are definitely in the mix. So they've got United next. Then they've got Wolves, who Wolves have turned a corner, haven't they? They've really shocked everyone. Even though they're sitting rock bottom, but they're fighting, aren't they? They're fighting. They are really, really fighting. So Wolves up next. Then they got Bournemouth, Burnley. Then they play us. Then they got Brighton. Then West Ham last game of the season. And then you look at Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Burnley, Sunderland, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Bournemouth, and then Spurs, as we all know, Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea. Now, obviously, this is where a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon already and saying this is where Spurs could be officially relegated from the Premier League because, you know, for one, we all know our form at Stamford Bridge. At Chelsea, anyway, home or away, is absolutely piss poor. And then the last game of the season against the Toffees, Everton at the Lane. And then we got West Ham, who obviously play Friday evening against Wolves. So, you know, if West Ham win that game, we go into the bottom 3, don't we? And we all know the pressure's on. But can you imagine the mind games going through the squad if West Ham win that game? Knowing that Spurs are in the bottom 3, they go to the Stadium a lot on Sunday, knowing they have to win. Have to win. It's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. And then obviously they got Palace, Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds. So guys, let me know, right? Let me know in the comments who do you think? I think I said this before on my last stream, but I want to put it out there again. Who out of these 4 teams has the most difficult run? Who has the most difficult run, guys? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. If you're asking me, I think originally I think I said West Ham, but then when I look at Nottingham Forest, Villa, you know, very good side. Burnley, you know, Forest could probably beat Burnley. Sunderland, not easy. Chelsea, again, not easy. Then they got Newcastle and United, all in that order. Chelsea, Newcastle, and Man United. And then even Bournemouth are no pushover. So when I'm looking at this again, I'm going to say Forest have the most difficult running. But obviously Spurs, you know, their last win in the league was the 20th of December, so they're not helping themselves, are they? So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be nervy, very, very nervy. That someone in the comments now, Forest, I'd say. Another one in there saying Forest and West Ham. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be interesting. It will be interesting. It will be interesting. But look, let's hope by the end of Friday night, Wolves beat West Ham. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. But obviously, when we play Wolves, let's hope we beat them. Let's hope we beat them. At the same time, you know, rumour has it that Mohamed Kudus is coming back, but is he going to be fully fit? Is he going to be able to play 90 minutes? That is the big question mark there. Benton Kerr's another one. Is he going to be ready to play 90 minutes? Bergfield, I know Bergfield played a slight glimpse of the Forest defeat, didn't he? Before the international break. So we got Bergfield back as well. So I know we're getting players back. You know, big rumours going around, as we all know. James Maddison could even play some small part before the end of the season. You know, are these players going to be ready to, you know, play a full 90 minutes? Are they going to be match fit? For someone like Maddison, we all know he's injury prone. We all know that. You know, I just don't want that. So I'm thinking it now. Maddison comes back after all this time out, and he's on the pitch for like 10 minutes and he gets another injury. That was seriously pissed me off, because we all know, well, I've been thinking about it for a long time, that the medical staff, they need to be seriously looked at. Or was that just me? I know the whole shebang needs to be looked at. The board, ENIC, the recruitment, everything from top to bottom. It all needs to be sorted out. We all know that. We all know that. So, you know, going back to Friday, let's hope Wolves do turn up, and yeah, that they beat West Ham. But look, it's going to be a very long 7 games, a long 7 weeks. But let's hope Spurs, you know, gather their thoughts, and you know they take a very long, hard look at themselves and say, look, come on, do you really want to see this? I was going to say big club, but we're not really a big club now, are we? There's another saying. A lot of people think we're still a top 6 side. We're not. We can't even compete with the likes of Fulham, Bournemouth, Villa. You know, we are low in the bracket now. But again, saying that, can you really imagine Tottenham playing in the Championship with that stadium they've got? It's mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Right, let's take this off. Right, I'm going to start rolling through the comments, guys. So, where are we? Big up Rodney Martin. Big up to all Coys. Yeah, smash the likes on your way through. Please do smash the likes on your way through. I'd appreciate it. Rodney Martin, 2-1 Spurs. So 2-1 Spurs against Sunderland. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Oh, we got Gooner in the building. 2-1 Sunderland. Of course you would say that. Of course you would say that. Who's going to get the winner then? Granit Xhaka. I'm sure he's back from injury. I know he had a couple of weeks on the sidelines, didn't he? Big up Jimmy Hotspur, Afternoon Flicks. Big up yourself. Again, smash the likes on your way through. I really, really appreciate it. And please get subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. Jimmy Hotspur again also saying, how do you think we react if we go into a game in the bottom three? Well, like I said, look, if West Ham do beat Wolves and we go into the bottom three, look, we all know the pressure's on, but it's gonna be notched up to it's gonna be high. It's gonna be high, and the pressure will be fully on. And can you imagine if that is the outcome and we do end up in the bottom three by the end of Friday night, going through to the weekend, and we even lose against Sunderland? With De Zerbi there now, yeah, it's going to be more doom and gloom. But can you imagine it? It's going to be more booze. De Zerbi's the wrong man. Why did we get De Zerbi? This is where it pisses me off with Spurs fans. It's so divided. So divided. I might sound a little bit hypocritical, yeah, because De Zerbi is a very good manager, but is he the manager to get Tottenham through the last 7 games to keep Tottenham in the Premier League? I said leading up to Tudor being sacked, I would have been more than happy to see a Tim Sherwood, a Redknapp. I know Redknapp's not managed for a very long time. Tim Sherwood as well. But just a simple back to basics. I know that's saying any manager can do that, simple back to basics. But at the same time, I felt we just need someone that's been there before or even played for the club, just to get these group of boys together and say, come on, look, buck up your ideas. Seriously, wake the fuck up. Wake up. And again, a simple back to basics, a simple formation, and you stick to that formation and you stick to the same lineup as best as you can. I know we got injuries, and I'm sure there's going to be injuries still to come until the end of the season, but at least try and stick to, like I said, the same formation and the same lineup as best as you can. Can't keep swapping and changing things. Cannot keep doing that. So look, I know we got De Zerbi, and like I said earlier, and I'll say again, a very good manager, but a very big but, like I said, is he the man to get these group of boys over the line and Tottenham see another Premier League season? Is he? Is he? Because like I said, if we don't pick up anything against Sunderland, West Ham win, the pressure's on, even though it's on already, but I don't even want to think about it. I really don't. I really don't. But I just hope we do pick up something against Sunderland, because after that we've got Brighton are no pushover. It doesn't matter if we're playing at home, doesn't matter if we're playing away. It's been absolute piss poor, hasn't it? Both home and away, so it really doesn't matter. But by some miracle, can we pick anything up starting against Sunderland, guys? Can we? Another comment here. Come on, you Spurs. 82. Forest and West Ham. Obviously, that was going on about the next set of fixtures coming up. So Forest and West Ham to have a tough run of fixtures till the end of the season. Gooner fan in the house. Yeah, Forest, I'd say. Yeah, Forest have definitely got a very tough run, haven't they? Very. Big up Dean. Afternoon. We are in such a low state. I just can't see us stringing a few points together. Sorry, a few results together. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a tough ask. When you think back to our last win in the league was against Crystal Palace, going back to the 28th of December, and we're now in April. it's just complete and utter, nonsense. It really is. It really is. When you think back to how it ended last season, I know we got our first trophy in 17 years, etc., etc., etc. But to finish 17th, 22 losses, and we're now, we're down there again. We have not learnt from our mistakes. The hierarchy haven't learnt from their mistakes. I've said before and I'll say again, and I'm not the only one that said this, but winning that Europa, it simply papered over the cracks. It got everyone obviously forgetting about where we finished in the league, 22 league defeats, papered over the cracks. But when you think back to what happened in the summer and what happened in January, absolutely poor. Absolutely poor. That was the time, especially going back to the summer, that was the time for, decent signings. Decent signings. Even January. January was absolutely piss poor, wasn't it? Absolutely piss poor January. Absolutely. So, it's, yeah, here we are. Here we are, guys. Here we are. Got a Leeds fan in the building. Could be us lot hoping West Ham or Forest. Look, a lot of people are not really talking about Leeds being in the mix, but Leeds are only 3 points clear of Spurs, and with 7 games remaining, there's still a long way to go. Still a long way to go. Even when you look at the very bottom end, look at Wolves. Mathematically, Wolves could even get out of that. Can you imagine Wolves getting out of that? That would be the greatest of greatest escapes ever, wouldn't it? Wolves getting out of that. But here we are. Here we are, guys. Like I said, there's a very long way to go yet. Very long way. Big up John O. Whitney. Will Solanke push for goals to get into the World Cup? Yeah, that's another one. That's another one. I know he played. I know Solanke. He started, didn't he? When England played Uruguay. I can't really comment much on how Solanke played unless anyone can let me know in the comments. I didn't see the game. I'm not really one for watching friendlies, to be honest. But if anyone in the comments can let me know how Solanke was in that game. But yeah, talking about Solanke quickly, I feel, in my opinion, that Solanke's not really 100% fit from what I've seen of him, or is that just me? I don't know. I really don't know. What else we got here? What else we got here? Big up the sporting journey. You'd like to think all the internationals would want you to have a good ending to the season, impress the international managers for the World Cup selection. Well, yeah, of course, yeah, definitely. The sporting journey also saying I saw say that again. I saw somewhere it's the 100-day anniversary since you last won a game. Yeah. I was watching a bit of not Nigel's channel, Pure Coins, big up Pure Coins, but yeah, someone put in the comments on that it's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous to think our last win was against Crystal Palace, and we're now in April and we still ain't won a game in the league. It's mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental, absolutely mental. What else we got here? What else we got? I expected a drop off, but never expected post Kane and Son to look this dark for Spurs. Look, when you think back to Kane, Sonny, even going way, way back to Moussa Dembele, for me, Moussa Dembele was so underrated. So underrated. But all these players have gone and they've never been replaced. Never been replaced. Harry Kane. Harry Kane from the youth. I know Spurs put him out on loan many, many times before he was eventually allowed his time to shine, or to see if he could shine. And he broke through, didn't he? He broke through, and we were lucky to keep hold of him in the end. You know, but again, hasn't been replaced. To think Kane's gone and we got Solanke and Richarlison, Sonny, we got Odebert there, Matthews Tell. You know, it's just it's bonkers, isn't it? It's bonkers. Moussa Dembele, like I said earlier, very, very underrated. Very underrated. Never really got the credit he deserved. He wasn't really one for scoring goals, but what he was good at is, you know, holding the ball up. He had muscle, shoving players off. Very, very rarely got tackled and lost the ball. Very, very good player. Very, very good player. And again, never been replaced. Never been replaced. I know we got that Endembele, didn't we? You know, and silly old me, when we signed him, I thought, yeah, he's the top replacement at the time, but he turned out to be tragic, didn't he? Absolutely tragic. Absolutely tragic. And then you look at our back four, what we had then to what we got now. It's just, we've gone so far backwards. So far backwards. And this is why I can't help but say the hierarchy have no ambition. And it really annoys me when they have these silly little interviews and, you know, they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes and say, look, you know, we're trying to push, we want to see this big club. I hate it when they say that, but they say it, don't they? Big club in the top 4, top 5, competing. We want to see Spurs in the Champions League. Well, prove it. Sign players. Sign quality. But they don't do that, do they? They don't do that. They do not do that. They don't do that. They really don't do that. Big up Pure Coins. I don't know what that comment's not come up on there, but it's on there for some reason. Because I'm scrolling through comments on my iPad, so yeah, I'm just looking on here as well. So big up Pure Coins. Solanke looks sluggish for me, not sharp enough. Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. You know, when he did come back from injury, again, there's that saying of, was he brought in? You know, was he brought in too early? Was he brought back too early? You know, it's very, very very, very shit, isn't it? From top to bottom, the whole thing needs a massive shake-up. A massive, massive shake-up. But you know, it's, you know, going back to, like I said, what we had to what we got now is just absolutely tragic. Thinking back to the Poch days, not one of them players back then would have a worry, you know. Oh, would you know, when you think back to the back four, Danny Rose, Jan Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Walker, you know, so what we got now is, it's just tragic, absolutely tragic. And then all over, just all over is just a complete and utter mess, you know. Big up Pure Quiz again. Richie for me Sunday says it all right. Yeah, best. Let's see if that's on there. I don't know why it's not come up. Bear with me, guys. 1 minute. I don't know what's going on here. It's not coming up on my thing. Yeah, it's still not there. It's weird. So Richie for me on Sunday says it all right. Best of bad. Yeah, exactly. Look, it's going to be interesting to see what De Zerbi, what formation he puts out, what team he puts out. Are we going to see a Kudus? You know, we was all told Kudus is going to be back in April, and it's April now. So could we see a Kudus? You know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting, but it's going to be nervy. It's going to be very, very nervy. But can Spurs do it? Can this be the time where we see this group of players turn a corner and we start lifting ourselves away from the bottom three? Can it happen? Or is it just going to be more doom and gloom? And we end up in the bottom three. Well, I know we could end up in the bottom three by the end of Friday night, but, you know, if that's the case, are we going to just be sat there till the end of the season? And that's our Premier League time done. I've said before, if Spurs do get relegated, there's no way back. There is no way back. You know, it's again where the Spurs fans are so divided. You got groups actually saying, "Oh, but they deserve to be relegated." Of course, we deserve to be relegated because we have been so poor. But if anyone deserves to be relegated, it's the board, certain players that don't simply want to be there, and ENIC. Me and you don't deserve relegation. Players, you know, Archie Gray, for example, who, you know, tries his very best along with many other players there, they don't deserve relegation. But if we do go down, there is no way back. Of course, we're going to lose our so-called top players because we will. They don't want Championship football. They don't want that. For one, there's going to be major, major wage cuts. But there will simply be no way back. Spurs fans saying, you know, if we do go down, it'll give them a kick up the arse. Well, not necessarily. Because like I said, at least 80 to 85% of that squad will go. And, you know, it's going to be a time where we are going to start seeing, you know, centre-backs playing for Spurs like Ashley Phillips, who, thinking back to it now, Tottenham bought Ashley Phillips from Blackburn, I believe, and then they put him straight out on loan. So to be playing Championship football, we're now, you know, could potentially be relying on Ashley Phillips. You know, it's mental, isn't it? It's mental. Other players I'm trying to think of. It was the other young Asian guy that Spurs bought, and they literally threw him out on loan. Hoik. You know, these are players that could be possibly playing for Spurs in the Championship next season if that's the case and we do go down. Players like Mathis Tell, Odibert, I can't really see them going because who would want them? Because they're shite, aren't they? They are poor. They are very, very poor. Very, very poor. You know? When you look at the Coventry squad, I think there's probably, you could probably count on one hand how many players in that squad are under the age of 22, 23. All the rest are, you know, up there. You know, Spurs don't have that, do they? Spurs don't have that. Yang and Taiki, that's the other one. Taiki, he's another one that's gone out on loan. See, this is another thing that annoys me with Spurs. They sign all these players and they put them out on loan. What's the point? What is the point? I get it. I get it in some ways when you look at someone like I've gone blank. The young centre back who's playing out in Germany, Hamburg, Voiskovic. Very, 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 very promising. Very, very promising. But for me, would it be the right time for him to come back and play in a Spurs shirt? Yes, he scored plenty of goals from set pieces. He's had a very, very good season. But would it be the right time to bring him back if he wanted to come back? I know I was watching, got to think back now where I was watching it. It might have been. It was last, possibly. Yeah, it was last week. Maybe the week before. I was watching Savage Show, Football Heritage TV, and someone in the comments put, why not put Vojskovic? Obviously, bringing back to Spurs, but put him out on loan again to someone like Everton in the Premier League next season. You know, let him have that time in the Premier League. And you know, I sat there when I first said, I thought, I don't know. But then I thought a little bit more about it. I thought, okay, Everton, not a bad manager, David Moyes, you know, a decent manager to work under. And then I'm thinking, you know, their current centre backs now, Tawaski. You know, there's nothing fancy about him. He's, you know, he's again that type of player, a bit like a Kevin Danzo. They're just there, do the job, nothing fancy about him. And for me, that's a player that should be playing alongside to get that experience. To get that experience. So that could be a possible one there for Spurs to look at. Yeah, another comment now. Big up, Carl. Vojskovic has been fast tracked into the Croatia team. Let me see if that's on there. Oh, it has, yeah, yes. So Vojskovic has been tracked into the Croatia team. There's no way he's playing Championship if we go down. Well, yeah, definitely. If we go down to the Championship, he ain't gonna be playing Championship football. So that's a definite. That is a definite. But obviously, that if Spurs do manage to keep keep in the Premier League, then that could be a possible option. Bring Vojskovic out of Germany and into the Premier League to get that experience. You know, not just for himself, but to see how it obviously is in the Premier League. You know, you know, don't forget he's still very young. He's only about 19, maybe 20 at a push. So he's still very, very young, very, very young. And when you're thinking back to players like Archie Gray, who were, you know, we are having to rely on again. You know, don't get me wrong. He's a very, very good player, but we shouldn't be relying on him right now. We shouldn't be. This is what pissed me off with Tudor before he left, when he kept Gallagher on the bench. You know, Jalplinia. Them two alone are surely definite guaranteed starters right now. So hopefully with Deserby now in the mix, let's hope, you know, like I said earlier, he goes to a simple back to basics, you know, telling these boys to, you know, obviously not do nothing fancy, a simple back to basics, a simple formation, a simple lineup, and you keep to that as best as you can. You know, playing a Conor Gallagher in his natural position, not out on the wing, playing Porro in his natural position, again, not where freaking Igor Tudor was playing him, you know. But if anyone's going to go next season, for me, the first one I'd pull out the hat is Christian Romero. You know, I'm just bored of it. And I was watching Savage Show earlier this afternoon, and he mentioned something along these lines. You know, Christian Romero, he's been at the club, what, 4 or 5 years now, and it's just getting boring. And he is. He's getting boring, Romero. It comes out many times, and he's done it twice, 2 or 3 times this season, hasn't he? You know, trying to say sorry to the likes of me and you, saying he's performing. Well, we're not seeing that on the pitch. Instead of throwing all this out on social media, do your talking on the pitch. Because he doesn't do that. And at the same time, Romero's not consistent enough. Bit like a Richarlison, not consistent enough. So they pick and choose when they want to perform. Look, don't get me wrong. A bit like a Richarlison. On their day, very good. Very, very good. But they're not consistent enough. Not consistent enough. So Romero, for me, he's definitely the first one I'd pull out the hat and say, you know, ta-da, I don't care. Really don't care. Again, I would even actually throw a Mickey van der Ven into the mix. Now, when you look at Van der Ven, you know, before I'm just trying to think back now, possibly before, so probably going back to last year, October roughly. You know, he was timing his challenges to an absolute T, wasn't he? You know, after that, it was just, you could see his head wasn't there. His head wasn't there. You know, there's rumours coming out that he wants to go. He's had enough. So, you know, what do you believe? But then you're seeing him not perform, you know. Was it Tudor? Was it Thomas Frank? You know, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. But right now, apart from a possible, you know, James Maddison, Kulusevski, Polina, maybe Xavi Simons. But other than that, the rest, I really couldn't care less if they walk tomorrow. I really couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less. Another one, Porro, not really consistent enough for me. Doesn't really defend well. Adugi's just seems to be injury prone, doesn't he? Seems to be injury prone. But here we are. Here we are, guys. It's gonna be interesting to see. You know, if the outcome is that Spurs stay in the Premier League, who's gonna go and who's gonna stay? Because look, we all know we need a massive clear out. That is the number one. We need a massive clear out. A massive clear out. I don't want to walk into, if we stay in the league again, that is, I don't want to see, you know, all these idiots still there. Like Ben Davis, longest serving player. You know, been a very, very good servant. Very good servant. But it's time to move on. If he wants to stay, put him in the coaching staff. You know, stick him in the under 21s. You know, let him learn his trade in the coaching. Or if you want to, obviously, if he wants to continue playing, then move him on. It's time to move on now. And this is what I mean with Cristian Romero. A lot of people praise him, but World Cup winner, been there, done it, but he's not consistent enough. Not consistent enough. He's too hyped up, and there's just nothing there whatsoever. Big up Rodney Martin, a 4-3-2-1 formation. Yeah, a few people have said that one. Or more likely a 4-2-3-1 formation. Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. But let's hope that De Zerbi. I know he's not had really a lot of time to gel with a group of boys. But let's hope we do pick something up against Sunderland. And you know, and if we do, this could be the start of something good, and we turn a corner, and we see another season in the league. But either way, we need a massive clear out, and yeah, massive changes, not only on the pitch, but the board. Again, rumours swirling around that Johan Lang could be on the way out. Fingers crossed that's true, because I really don't know why he was brought in the first place. Absolutely terrible. Fanai's another one. Fanai, you know, just the whole board together. The whole board as one just need a massive shake up, as well as Enoch, of course. You know, it's time to move on now. You know, we all know this has to be the last roll of the dice. If De Zerbi doesn't succeed, then surely this has to be it. Has to be it. Um, yeah, another comment here. Yeah, then I can fuck off too. Yeah, exactly. I know. Going back to, was it the Forest game? Um, the section where Spurs fans were sitting near Fanai, you know, even they had enough. Even they had enough. It's time to move on now. They've been absolutely poor, haven't they, since they've come to Spurs? Absolutely poor, and it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse, guys. Really getting bad. Very, very bad. But let's hope Roberto De Zerbi, like I said, works some miracles in this short space of time that he's had, leading up to Sunday, and we turn a corner. I just want to see some fight. At least show the likes of me and you that they're trying. They're fighting for the badge. They're not just going to sit back and let teams roll them over. Let's hope we do see a bit of fight, a bit of passion, a bit of togetherness. You know, but here we are. Here we are. Right, I'm going to call it a day there, guys. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Please smash the likes on your way through. Please get subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. Um, and yeah, as always, Enoch out. Take it easy, everyone. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video or live stream in a bit, guys. And up the Spurs. Come on.